All right, today we are jumping into a real classic, R.K. Narayan's short story, The Martyr's Corner. It's an incredible story about a man named Rama who has built this perfect little life for himself, only to have it completely torn apart by forces that have nothing to do with him.
And really, that's the question at the heart of it all. It's something we can all think about, right? Just how fragile is a life that you've so carefully built? Well, Rama's story gives us a pretty chilling answer.
So, to really get the full impact of the tragedy, we've got to first understand what Rama had. Let's look at his world before everything changed. He was the king of his own little kingdom, a truly contented caterer.
You know, the way Narayan describes Rama's business is just perfect. It wasn't some big, fancy shop. He calls it an establishment, sure, but he also says it was a vision spun out of air. I love that. It means Rama created this, from scratch, on a busy street corner that he made his own.
And let me tell you, this little vision of his was doing great. He was pulling in 300 rupees a month. Now, to put that into perspective, the story makes a point of telling us that even university graduates would have been jealous of that kind of money. Rama was a total self-made success story.
So what was his secret? Good, simple food the people loved. We're talking big, puffy dosas, hard-boiled eggs, coffee that was always hot, and, get this, free chutney. He knew everybody, from the folks coming out of the cinema to the boot-polished boys. They were his regulars. His corner wasn't just a food stall, it was a hub, a reliable fixture of daily life.
And this quote right here, it just says it all. Rama had achieved this perfect contentment, this absolute security that, let's be honest, most of us dream about. His life was stable, it was predictable, and it was his. He felt safe. But, as you can probably guess, that was all about to change. And boom! Just like that, his world flips from perfect order to total chaos. This is the turning point where this huge external conflict comes crashing right into Rama's little life.
It all started like any other evening. Rama shows up at his spot, all ready to get to work.
But something is immediately off. His corner is already full of people. There's a crowd, and they're arguing. The whole vibe is tense, and it's all about some political dispute over votes, something that has absolutely nothing to do with him or his dosas. And you can just feel the anger and the paranoia ramping up. This isn't just a disagreement anymore. It's turned into a full-blown us versus them battle. And poor Rama is just standing there on the sidelines, watching his entire business get swallowed up by a fight that isn't even his. And then it just explodes. Someone gets slapped, there's a cry, and the whole thing descends into a riot. Soda bottles start flying like missiles, shops are getting shut down, and when the police show up, well, instead of calming things down, their actions just lead to more tragedy. People get hurt, and someone is killed, right there, on Rama's corner. So after all that chaos, Rama's life is just changed. Forever. The very piece of ground where he built his life is about to be redefined by a totally new story, a story that completely writes him out of it. I mean, look at this contrast. It's just brutal. What used to be Rama's Corner, a place buzzing with life, with business, with community, is transformed, literally overnight. It becomes the Martyr's Corner, a memorial to the political figure who died in the riot. And there it is. Those words from a city official are the final nail in the coffin. Just like that, Rama's world is officially gone. All those years of hard work, his identity, his entire livelihood, it's all just swept away. That spot isn't his anymore. It belongs to history. So what happens to a man when his entire world is just yanked out from under him? Well, the story then shows us Rama's absolutely heartbreaking decline. The numbers here really tell this story, don't they? From a successful business owner making about 10 rupees a day, he's now forced to take a job as a waiter for a measly 20 rupees a month. His independence, his status, everything he worked for, gone. And this, for me, is maybe the saddest part. All he has left is the memory of who he used to be. The thought, I was once a hotel owner, becomes the only thing that gives him any comfort. It's this tiny little spark of dignity he holds on to in his new, smaller life. Eventually, he says this to his wife, and it's this moment of just profound resignation. He's not even angry anymore. He's just accepted it. He knows he was a casualty of something way bigger than him, and there's just nothing he can do about it. Okay, so let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture.
What is Narayan really trying to show us with this story? It all boils down to this really powerful and really bitter sense of irony.
At its core, this is a story about tragic irony. Think about it. The creation of something supposedly holy, a martyr's memorial, is the very thing that leads to the complete destruction of an innocent man's life. What the community sees as this noble act of remembrance is, for Rama, an act of total erasure.
So what's the big lesson here? Well, for one, it shows us just how fragile our own lives can be when they get in the way of big impersonal forces like politics and history. A grand story gets created, the story of a fallen leader, but it just steamrolls over the small personal story of the man whose life it destroyed. One person's sacred ground is another person's ruin.
And that brings us to the final, lingering question Narayan leaves us with. The corner gets its name from the political figure who died there, okay. But after you see Rama's entire life's work sacrificed to create that memorial, you just have to ask yourself, who is the real martyr of the Martyr's Corner?